Whoa! This game was crazy! It had like 11 tactics in a row at some point. It had queen sacrifices, putting pieces into literal jail, and much more. Let's get right to it. But first, at the opening. Move a pawn to the center, move a pawn to the center. Knight attacks pawn, knight defends pawn. I go and move another pawn to the center, he takes it, and now I move a bishop to c4. Isn't he up a pawn? Yes, but not for long. While trying to defend it, he might get into some tricky situations. And I know all the traps in this position. He goes h6, a bit of a weird move. It doesn't let my knight go to g5, but I wasn't going there anyway. Okay, I myself castle. He plays bishop c5, defending the pawn. And now you'll see what I mean. I play c3, attacking it once again, trying to recapture it like 5 moves later. Actually 3. Why can't you defend the pawn, you may ask? What about queen f6? Here I introduce you to the first tactic of this video, interception. You block the queen's vision to the pawn, and she doesn't protect it anymore. But can't black just take the pawn with the knight, for example? No. Why? Because if the trade happens, this is the second tactic of this video, and it's called a skewer, and it would be deadly. This rook now skewers the queen to the enemy's king. The queen can't move away from the skewer, and she gets taken, and we win shortly after. Okay, let's go back. This did not happen in the game. It would be too short of a game to show you. My opponent here takes my pawn, thinks he's 2 pawns up now, but he falls to an attraction tactic. We play bishop takes f7, sacrificing a whole bishop, but not for long. If he takes the bishop, you can fork him or double attack him. The queen attacks the bishop and the king, and he can't protect both at the same time, so he would likely move the king, and I would give him another check and take the bishop. After him blocking the check, I would just take the pawn and have a better position. Why my position is better? Because my king is castled and he doesn't even have the right to castle. Okay, this is the main trap of the opening. I win a lot of games in similar positions, but this is not what happened in the game. In the game, he did not take the bishop. Seems reasonable, but it's actually worse because the bishop then can come back and team up with the queen and deal a lot of damage to his position. So I played knight takes c3. Why? Because if he takes my bishop once again, he's still getting forked. That's funny. He protects his bishop. That's actually really important because now my bishop is hanging. I need to move it. He plays bishop g4. This is also kind of a tactic. It doesn't win any material, but it prevents my knight from moving. Because if my knight moves, then he can take my queen. This is called a pin. He's pinning my knight to a queen. Okay. I don't like him doing that, so I play h3. Now he can decide where his bishop wants to go. He chooses bishop h5, still pinning my knight to the queen. Respectable. I play rook e1 because I don't know where my dark square bishop wants to go yet. Maybe it goes here, maybe it goes here. My opponent then plays knight to e7. That's quite a strange move if you ask me. I want to go to f6, which puts pressure on the pawn. I don't know, my opponent had his own vision, I guess. I just simply played knight d5, putting my knight into the center, and then my opponent copied me by playing knight to d4 and putting pressure on the pinned piece, which is actually a great strategy. As you remember, my knight is pinned to the queen, So it can't move? Or can it? Here. I sacrifice the queen! Why? Do you remember the thing called forks? Yes, there is one. I'm forking the queen back. So after he moves his king, I take the queen. By the way, this is not the right move. The computer told me that the queen was worthless, the position was better if you just took in the bishop. I'm not a computer, I'm a human, so I just took the queen. But he did not take back my knight. That would be a pretty easy win for me. He takes my knight, I take his bishop, I'm a full piece up, everything's great. But he instead, he took the bishop first. It's called an in-between move. That way, if I just recapture back, he takes my knight and now it's equal again. He escaped a lot of complications that could happen. So, I was quite a tactician myself, so I took a pawn. That way I'm still up material. Then he saves his bishop by capturing my knight. He wants an equal trade. And this move is really important, because if I just recapture back, then my knight is in jail. He has no moves to get out of there. He's just imprisoned in the enemy camp. And my knight will be gone in a few moves, like rook b8, rook takes b7. If this were to happen, I would sacrifice my knight for a pawn, and that is not a good trade, as you know. So, I did not do that. I took that dark squared bishop first. Now, if he takes my knight, I take his bishop, the victory is restored. I am a pawn up, his pawns are doubled, isolated, his knight is pinned to the king. I have a great position here, looks like a win. So, he did not capture my knight. Instead, he played a desperado tactic. A desperado tactic is when you trade a piece for a piece of lower value instead of just giving your piece up. He knows that his bishop will die anyway because I will take it, so he wants to take the pawn first. If I recapture, he captures my knight back, and his tactic worked. But, I once again have other moves in my mind. In this position, I can move the knight to a6 while still threatening to capture the bishop, moving my knight from danger and attacking this pawn, which then leads to a fork on his king and the rook. And this is where I won the game, because he then played bishop c4, I took the pawn with the fork, he moves his king, I win his rook for my knight. Winning here is pretty easy, but don't click away just yet. There is still one interesting moment in this game, and I finally developed my bishop. And we'll skip a few moves. I'm trying to attack this center pawn, because it is a bit weak, or so I thought. We traded some pieces. Here was an interesting moment, because if he played his king here, there are actually two checkmates right in this position, because when his king has no legal moves, the checkmate is soon to follow. Like, this is a pawn checkmate, this is a rook checkmate. Of course, this was a little trap to win a bit quicker. He did not want to lose that badly, so he stepped away. I shuffled my rooks, and the interesting moment is here. He went away with his king, discovering a check on my king. This is a pretty nice tactic, but of course not when your checking piece can be just captured, so I captured his bishop and he resigned. That was a funny game. Hope you liked it. Did you like the position I got? Check out the video about the sketch gambit. This is a great opening for all levels of play. The positions I get are full of tactics, quick wins, and they often lead to great games. Subscribe, hit bell. Let's have a great chess journey together.